Hi, I'm Stephanie Sanditz. I'm the writer, creator, producer, and actor of The High Life, which is a pilot in the episodics competition. It's a loosely autobiographical story about a black sheep daughter who returns home upon the mysterious death request of her aunt. And essentially, it's about a co-ed naked funeral I was forced to go on with my family.
I've done a lot of research on this. This is such a great film. I know some of this is autobiographical. So tell us where you got the inspiration from, because it's a very interesting story.
Sure.
And how did you structure the writing process?
Two-part question. So it started out, I grew up in Missouri. I'm what I call a Christmas tree Jew. My father was Jewish, my mother was Christian, and there was a lot of pageantry about religious experiences that really were not spiritual at all. I suffered a little bit of trauma and was ostracized a little as a growing up. And I was always a seeker, and I was always interested in exploring religion and what the greater picture was. And I went to New York and explored life as an artist, and I reviewed 50 bars in 50 days, and got into a little bit of trouble. And I had this aunt that I idolized, who was this very successful woman, and she ended up getting ovarian cancer and battled it for 10 years and then died. And my family, after not really speaking for so long, decided to all get together to read her will. And we were shocked to find out that her dying wish was for the whole family to get together, get naked, and hike her ashes to the top of a nudist Buddhist monastery that she'd secretly joined the last 10 years of her life as she battled cancer and found peace. So we did that. And this pilot explores all the different ways in which we don't really show people who we really are, and also in the face of crisis, how we're all forced to kind of look at life a little deeper and see what we want out of it. And I think that in a time such as this year in COVID, where everyone kind of had to take a pause and really see, people faced a lot of death, people faced a lot of sickness, and so I'm hoping more than ever that this series could explore these kind of themes, but through the hot mess of this girl who's like unafraid to ask all of the questions that everyone is also afraid to ask.
So let's honor your aunt for a moment. Who was she to you? What did you love about her? What did she mean to you?
That's a great question. So in reality, she lived in Chicago, and she was bold and fearless, and she had this fancy high-rise apartment, and she traveled all around the world with all these businessmen. She would come back from Hong Kong and China and Japan, and she just really broke like every glass ceiling, and she lived life to its fullest, and she didn't apologize for anything. She never married, she never had a significant other. So I feel like there was I wish that I got to know her more. And she always told me, by the way, she didn't leave me a single thing. She left me the first ring that she bought in Hong Kong. That was the first thing that she ever bought with her own money. And she said that she always believed in me as a writer and as a creator, and that I was going to make my own money someday. And it's been hard, but I'm slowly and surely doing it. And
you haven't given up, and that's the important part.
No, I'm currently, aside from this, I've just finished a $60 million Catherine Hardwicke comic book movie called Heathen that Joey King's starring in as a writer, and another movie that I wrote called Perfect Addiction. Castile Landon, who directed all the upcoming After movies, is directing, and they're shooting that this winter. And then I'm also writing a movie called Talking Tom that Raja Gosnell, who directed Smurfs and Never Been Kissed, is directing. So I've slowly started making my way as a writer, and it's the next goal is to be able to be a content creator and get this series and another feature that I wrote also about life growing up in the Midwest that I hope to direct.
So talk to us about the casting. Where did you find your cast members? What did you tell them about the series?
Casting was difficult because, as you can imagine, it's asking for pro actors to work essentially SAG ultra low budget wages, and not while all of the main characters don't have to get naked, they did have to there's a high Spanx budget, is what I like to say. We had an amazing casting director who also we got everyone that came on board was just incredible and worked way below their rate. Jessica Sherman is this incredible casting director, and I just wrote fan letters. Amy Landecker came on because Amy French, who helped direct knew her and worked on a project, and she was just a dream to play. And if you see the pilot, it's a really crazy scene that she comes in. She just couldn't have been more wonderful. And then Linda Pearl, who is just this pro who plays my mother. She was on Happy Days and, you know, The Office and Modern Family and 24. And she just said that she came in between shooting like real shows. And she just said that she always wanted to be involved in a project that was helmed by women because she didn't get to when she was climbing the ranks. Ron Perkins, who's in Brockmire and Longmire and the Prestige and Spider-Man, plays the dad with such like incredible sensitivity. And Jesse Garcia plays this kind of nebulous character we call Face Tattoo, and there's kind of, is he real or not? And he's awesome. He's actually playing the Flamin' Hot Cheeto guy right now in Eva Longoria's movie Flamin' Hot. He was also in Narcos and From Dusk Till Dawn. So he was a friend that I'd met through another executive producer of the show, Kimberly McCullough. And then Hunter was the only person who auditioned for it, Christopher Michael Watson, and he just blew us all away. And then the character, and then Jonathan LaValle, who plays the bar owner, is an actor and a photographer, and after this was shot, is now my husband.
Mazel tov, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, you know, besides the human actors, let's talk about the locations because, the locations were a character within themselves. So where did you film? How did you get permission to film there? And
thank you for asking that. So we wanted it to be set in Missouri, in Chesterfield, Missouri. One thing more than I live in Los Angeles, because while I think it's shocking to go on a co-ed naked funeral and explore spirituality anywhere, it's definitely more shocking in Missouri than it is in Los Angeles. So, but we only had 5 days to shoot and a very minimal budget. So we subbed the Valley, Encino, for suburban Los Angeles, for suburban Missouri, and then Topanga for the Ozarks. So I don't know if you can tell, we had to cut around all palm trees. And we kind of chose this house in Encino. Like, we didn't have much art direction budget, so if you see the house, it looks a little Brady Bunchy. It's definitely got like a patina of kind of stuck in a different era. But
it's the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I like the idea that all of the characters, Evie most exclusively, are like kind of delusional and kind of not in the right time. So I felt like the house kind of like looked a little behind the times too, like they all are.
Disheveled.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you think that co-ed naked funerals are becoming a rage now?
I mean,
do you
I'm
hope?
willing to, it really brings people together. It really brings out, people's true colors, shall we say. I'm for it.
Has any of your family members seen it? And what's been the conversations with them?
Sure. I mean, again, so there's some, everything's a little exaggerated version of itself.
Of course.
So I think everyone gets nervous when they hear that they're being put into a subject, but I'm always like, my character looks the worst. Like, I'm the a-hole, So I think that they're proud of me, and again, there's kind of points of departure, but I think it's a little safe because my character goes through the most terrible things.
So you talked about earlier in this interview about meeting your husband and getting married. Congratulations once again. What did you learn about yourself professionally and personally while going through this film?
To be honest, that I really love being the leader, like the captain. I loved employing people. I'd always say there's a part of me that would actually be a good manager. I really love bringing out other people's talents and bringing people together. So as much as it's funny, I'm making a career on writing right now, but I feel like that's the hardest. I really am a people person. I loved creating this platform where, again, I can make fun of myself and make everyone warm and welcome. I just want to keep doing more. Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, what was it about your husband that caught your eye?
We've met each other 23 years ago. So I met him when he was a young lad. And then we reunited. He kind of is unapologetic and wasn't afraid to... He's never been afraid to champion me in my successes as well as his own. And I feel like I've dated a lot of men that weren't able to do that or didn't care about doing that. And he really, really sees me as his partner. And we also just have so much fun together. He's a crazy, crazy, crazy sense of humor. And I'm a little bit more neurotic, and he's a little more bigger picture, even keeled. So it's kind of a good balance.
What are you reading and watching right now?
Ooh. What am I watching right now? Except for all the films at the Bentonville Film Festival. I'm kind of I rewatched all of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was really fun. I went on a deep dive of all of the sex cult things that are out there, the Jeffrey Epsteins, the NXIVMs. So big fan
it's a theme right now.
Yeah, it's a big theme. It's hot. Sex cults are hot and creepy and fascinating. I'm watching everything kind of on HBO Max. I mean, he caught me off guard. But I did a deep dive. I did this boxing movie, so I had spent the last part of the pandemic. I'm a really big underdog sports fan, so I rewatched all the Rockies. I watched Warrior, watched The Fighter. I really like the idea of an underdog story of the person that can work the hardest, overcome all odds, and get to win. So, did a lot of movie marathons. Does that run the gamut? Larry David, Rocky, sex cults. That's me.
There we go.
Yeah,
it's a documentary within itself, or maybe a study on psychology. What inspires you? I mean, what inspires you in life to be able to do everything from your sports stuff that you've done in the past to the high life?
That's a big question, but I think that I'm really interested in human resilience. I feel like this year especially, there's so much pain and hardship, and I feel like I went through some of my own stuff and had some things happen to me along the way. I feel like I was really privileged and I got a good education, and I just really feel like there's so much need right now for the world to kind of extend hands to people that need it. And I am so moved by all of these filmmakers of people that just kill themselves to tell these stories because they just want to connect with people more. So I really just want to help people connect. And I also think that there's a lot of people that need their eyes to be opened a little bit more. I feel like communication is key, and that racism and socioeconomic disparity and hate all just come from people just not seeing other people that they're afraid of. And I feel like if you can show people more stories about different religions, about different sexualities, about addiction, and if you can just show it, you can be like, oh, I see that in myself too. And it just makes the world a groovier place.
Lastly, what are the socials and handles and the website so we can keep in touch with you professionally, so we can follow all your successes, but we want to see where the high life is going to go next?
Great. So I'm Stephanie Sanditz on Instagram, StephaniSanditz. That's probably the easiest for me. The High Life, the trailer, is on YouTube. Both of those will probably lead you to the journey that will ultimately bring these to a high-end streaming platform near you soon.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for bringing this to Bentonville and our audiences here, and congratulations again on your marriage.
Thank you. So happy to be here.